Welcome to part 7 of the Gravity Colors Mp4-30 Ebbro 1/20th scale Mclaren project. Last time I left you guys, I had clear coated the car. It's had a few days to cure, and that it has done very well. Beautiful thing about 2-part urethane clear is that it hardens up like a rock, making it a little bit challenging sometimes if you need to do some polishing, but it can be done with this method. First of all, let me pull it up to the light so you can see it. The wing on the front is removable, it'll come off, but I wanted you guys to see I've built the wing up. Now, I did clear coat the wing fairly heavily when I left you guys, and the reason why is because it's pretty tough to polish a wing like that. So I went ahead and just put it on very liberally on the wing and made sure that it flowed out really nice, which the Gravity Clear does. I'm going to pull the wing off now so it doesn't drop off. It just pops off right now because it's not being permanently installed until later in the assembly. Now, I want you to look really closely here if I can get it in the light just right. And in this area here, if you look when I bring it across the camera, there's a little bit of orange peel. Ever so slight, but it's still not acceptable in my case. So what I'm going to be doing is attacking those areas excuse me, using technically a 4-part system, but a 3-part compound system from Gravity Colors. Now, number 1 is your coarse grade compound. Number 2 is the fine grade. And then number 3 is the finishing grade. Now, you can get away with using all 3 of these and be fine. But Gravity also came out with, and it's in, of course, the older bottle. I'll be getting a newer one from Mate eventually once it's gone. But this is the protective synthetic wax. So I'll end up using this in this tutorial I'm doing today, which is part 7. Which is a synthetic wax, really nice stuff. Now, I don't just use these polishing compounds and nothing else. You have got to level out the paint before you use the 3-step compounds that you see here. Now, what I will do is be using, I've got a little cup of water here with some 3M 2000 wet dry sandpaper in there. I like to soften it up really well. I also will be using a little cloth towel that I have that'll be on my lap here. And this is where you start when you're polishing. People think, oh, you just polish with compounds and you get a real nice smooth finish. That's not the case. To get a smooth level finish, you have actually literally got to sand the clear prior to using the compounds. The compounds get the sanding out that you do with 2000, or some people use polishing kits. I have good luck with just using a 2000 grit paper, wet sanded. And then what I do is I just go through the 3-step Gravity compound and follow it up with the synthetic wax here. And I get a really good result. Now what I'm going to do is, since I showed you this area right here, we're just, for this tutorial, because I want to keep it, I don't want the tutorial to be too long. Obviously I can't do in the video the entire body here. It would just take too long of a file. But anyways, I'll be doing this area right here, along here. Let me get it up nice and close so you can see. Do you see the orange peel in there? I hope you do. And I'm seeing it myself because I'm looking at my camera here so I can see it. The whole car has that in areas. So I like to get the top areas. The sides aren't so bad. The sides look pretty good on this car. But I always want the top area because this is what viewers see when they look at the model on a table. If you guys are in a contest, at a contest table, that's what impacts the person visually when they first walk up to your model, is the paint. Especially the paint on the top surface of the model. Sides not so much. You can obviously do as much polishing as you want. Here's the key, guys. Even with 2-part urethane, you can get overzealous with it and you can burn it. So you got to be careful and stay away from edges, and especially when you're wet sanding, because wet sanding gives you an illusion like you're not taking off much clear, but in reality you are. So what you need to do is when you start off, by the way, sometimes I use one of these. If it's a real flat surface, I'll use the foam block that I've gotten in some of my polishing kits before. This one I won't need it so much. I just have it there to show you. But what I do is I get the paper out. I like to fold the paper. Let me do that first before I do this. I normally like to fold the paper in half, like that. And I use the pressure of my fingers right along here. So you'll see what I do here in a sec. Get it fairly wet. And what you do is you carefully run across here, like this. Let the paper do the work. Don't push down or burnish down like you're sanding metal or something. You're sanding a fairly delicate surface here. Let the paper do the work. Also, don't ever go in a circular motion. You always want to go back and forth or side to side. Never in a circular motion. When you polish with the compounds, you can go in a circular motion all you want. In fact, I encourage it. But when you're doing the sanding, you have to go back and forth or side to side. The reason I also like to polish when I'm dealing with decals is because I like to try to get the decals to blend into the same level as the paint. Not always successful in every area. There are different ways of doing it. You can lay down a scratch coat of clear, which is a thin coat, decal the car, and then put another coat of clear over it, lightly wet sand the car to level out the decals, and then when you put your final coat of clear on there, it usually goes on very, very nicely. But I have luck also doing it where if the clear's on, thick enough, I can actually just blend the decal in, if it's a thinner decal, which these are. And as you can see, if you look here, there's hardly any high or low spots anyways, even in the undone area. But you look across here, you can see a little bit in the left side that's unfinished, that there's a high spot where the decal is, where the clear is. On the right side, it's level. So I've leveled the clear with the decal. Now to do this, you can never do this with lacquer clears because you'd burn right off the car. But with urethane, since it's a high solid clear, you can achieve a level finish by wet sanding the decal and the paint that has a urethane clear on it to a nice level finish. So now you can see what you can do with this stuff. That took what? 15 minutes probably in this video to do that one spot. I'll go over each spot that I feel needs it on the car. I mean, I see some spots. I got a little bit of trash in my clear right across there, as you can see. So I'll wet sand this whole area and blend it all in. Anywhere I see trash or a rough surface of any sort where the clear went on, there's enough clear there, but it didn't go on real smooth, or I missed it a little bit. You can see across the Johnny Walker right here, right across the side of this car. See that? I've got some orange peel across there to take care of. I will get rid of that. But overall, it's still beautiful. But if I bring it right up to the lens, you can see it. So you'll have to do a lot of reflective angles to see your paint finish. And by all means, guys, be careful when you're wet sanding, because when you put water on the sandpaper and start buffing out or wet sanding the finish, you can't see how much you're taking off. So you have to stop periodically, like I did earlier, dry off the surface and look to see if you have some glossy areas too, and then get those areas taken care of until you have a uniform flat finish. Then you attack it with the number 1, 2, and 3 compounds and finish it off with this pink gravity colors synthetic wax. Before I leave you, like I said, the wing is done. I'm not going to do anything to the wing. The wing you don't see that much anyways at an angle, so it's got enough clear on it that it's okay, and I intentionally did that. Same with the side wings here. They're pretty shiny just like they are. And I intended that. I purposely laid the clear on a little heavier on the wings so that it would level out and wouldn't have to be polished because there's just too many high and low edges on these things. Did that with all the wing parts. So the little boards here, I've got them all done. So I won't polish them. I will polish the rest of the main body. Any area that when you walk up to the car sitting on a table or in a case or whatever, people go, wow, look at the finish on that car. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. So I hope this was informative to you. Stay tuned for part 8 coming up very soon, which will be tire detail and maybe a little cockpit detail, and probably final assembly. I'm not going to get into it too heavily on putting this car together. I just wanted to give you guys an overview of how I paint the car, how I prep it, paint it, decal it, clear it, polish it, and then put the final thing together. And you'll see hopefully how cool this car looks when it's done. So thanks for watching.